long and strong, and stamina, and I got taxed 20 cents for coming in late on King George Day, and 3 cents for smiling my normal face. You had no say in tax. I thought the Halloween party was awesome. My costume was a rainbow skeleton.
Had King George Day, which was not fun. You got treated bad, and we also had our first spelling quiz. We had a new Energizer. I forget what it's called.
A Roostershah.
A Roostershah. And I got all my current events done in one morning.
Halloween parade at Coastal Ridge. Yay, we get to dress up in our Halloween costumes and parade around. I also learned about prime numbers this week too. And we did our first spelling test, and it was like a story. It was also fun on King George Day. We had to pay taxes for silly things, and we did our current event reports.
I learned prime numbers, and on Wednesday it was King George Day. We did scoop bed too. This week for wedding, I typed my story on the computer. I read a good book called Jack. Happy Halloween.
This week we learned about King George and how the colonists got taxed a lot of money for doing not that many things. And this week we learned about books and writing smoothly and figuring out what your good fit is and which book you would be interested in. My spelling test on Tuesday, and King George Day was sort of fun. I got taxed for laughing, and I love laughing. I also got taxed for getting a drink and going to the bathroom.
King George Day was super fun. It was on Wednesday. I got taxed for smiling a lot. May's mom came too. We had a Halloween party on Friday, which was super fun. We learned about conjecture and argument in math too. My current event was about Nike's Back to the Future shoes that self-lace and the heels light up. I've learned how to edit my writing and making it more interesting. I learned what prime numbers are, like 5, 11, and 2. My goal in reading is to read an hour and 50 pages in that time. I learned how people in America felt when King George ruled. We also had a Halloween party and Halloween parade. In current events, I studied the York girls field hockey and they made it to states.
To pay tax with pennies, and it was horrible. Even if we smiled, laughed, and even had to get a drink.
Loved King George Day, but we had to pay taxes for no good reason, like sharpening a pencil. Also, we had a spelling test, and I thought I got all the answers right, and we did our first current events.
Carter dressed up as King George. He made us pay pennies for a lot of stuff, for most of the day, like smiling, if we had blue eyes, sharpening pencils, and getting up and not raising our hand. In the end, it was pretty fun for me.
We did a lot of stuff. The day I got back, we had to pay taxes for a lot of stuff. Taxes on the side over there. Smiling, giggling, and getting up, sharpening pencils, any others he made up. In math, we are converting hours to minutes and minutes to seconds. It can be hard, but charts make it easier. In reading, we are working on stamina.
Current events is when we pick an event that is happening now. I picked Hurricane Patricia. We had King George Day, and we got taxed on almost everything. Going to the bathroom smiling, if your name began with a vowel, eye color, shirt color, it was not fun.
learned what prime and composite numbers are. We had King George Day where we had to it was like we were calling us. Each of us brought in 50 pennies, and we got taxed for crazy things like smiling, going to the bathroom, and laughing.
Week is 7 out of 10. On Tuesday, I played Spot It with Mrs. Welch when I went to our room. We had King George Day on Wednesday, which was totally unfair. We had a reading long and strong May lesson on Thursday. And hashtag Halloween party, hashtag costume parade, hashtag awesome costume. We had our Halloween party. Hashtag scary, hashtag trick or treat, hashtag like please, hashtag subscribe now.
Day, you had to pay taxes for smiling and doing other stuff like that. For reading workshop, I am reading Horrible Harry, which is a really good book. I worked on a letter home in Mrs. P's room. Our energizer was I forget.
A rooster shot.
A rooster shot. It was really fun, and one day I got to start it and control it.
Did our first current event. Mine was about exotic sport hunting in Mozambique for conservation. Guess what? The World Bank gave Mozambique $40 million, and out of all that money, $700,000 will be put aside to support the hunting of lions and elephants. We had from Monday to Friday to do these. It was really fun and I learned a lot. I hope I can share my current event with other people because I did my best on it.